The war tried to kill us in the spring. As grass greened the plains of Nineveh and the weather warmed, we patrolled the low-slung hills beyond the cities and towns. We moved over them and through the tall grass on faith, kneading paths into the wind-swept growth like pioneers. While we slept, the war rubbed its thousand ribs against the ground in prayer. When we pressed onward through exhaustion, its eyes were white and open in the dark. While we ate, the war fasted, fed by its own deprivation. It made love and gave birth and spread through fire. Then, in summer, the war tried to kill us as the heat blanched all color from the plains. The sun pressed into our skin, and the war sent its citizens rustling into the shade of white buildings. It cast a white shade on everything, like a veil over our eyes. It tried to kill us every day, but it had not succeeded. Not that our safety was preordained. We were not destined to survive. The fact is, we were not destined at all. The war would take what it could get. It was patient. It didn't care about objectives or boundaries, whether you were loved by many or not at all. While I slept that summer, the war came to me in my dreams and showed me its sole purpose: to go on, only to go on, and I knew the war would have its way. Thus begins The Yellow Birds by Kevin Powers. Now, this book has been widely praised. I believe it was in the New York Times Top 100 or Notable 100, whatever the list is called, of 2012. And it was also one of there were three really well lauded and well respected American Iraq War books of 2012. This one, the other being Fobbit, and the other one being Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk Home, which won the National Book Critics Circle Award. It's some of those words, if not those exact words, of this last year, and that was by Ben Fountain. I mean, right off the bat, I'm a sucker for opening lines. Even just the first sentence. If the first sentence can hook me, I'm like, this author knows what he's doing. And this very evidently, I think it was very evident that it's just beautiful. If it's not too sentimental to use that word, it's beautiful. Deal with it. I mean, briefly, the plot is, first off, the author, Kevin Powers, was a Iraq War veteran of '04 and '05. He was a machine gunner in Al-Tafar, where this book takes place, and he was a poetry MFA graduate from the University of Texas. And it's very obvious, I think, that he likes, very prosy stuff, very prosaic stuff. The whole narrative is a first-person narrative, but it's very lyrical at the same time, which, especially when you're talking about the occupation of a soldier, you'd think that the mind of a soldier isn't very literary, lyrical. That was awkwardly worded, but I think you know what I mean. But he pulls it off for the most part. Now, the book, and I'll get back on this track in a little bit, the book is about two soldiers, Bartle and Murph. I believe Bartle's first name is John, and Murph is, I don't know. Murph is Murph, man. Murph is Murph. And they're two buddies that are serving in the Iraq War in Al-Tafar. It's kind of a very feudal war. I mean, feudal's not the right word, but it is very much, they keep battling over the same places over and over again. And it's, the guys before them were battling over this same kind of set of areas, same towns, and they'll lose this ground and they'll have to go get it back next spring. And the big plot device throughout the whole book is that we know that Murph dies. Pretty early on, we know that Murph dies. And this is not a spoiler, I promise. That is why it happens in the first, 20, 30 pages, maybe even like 10. I can't remember. I could just look it up, but no, it's not going to happen. And it's flashing between his time in the service and also his time when he's just gotten out, when he's back home. And it deals with a lot of, as you might guess, prevalent issues with veterans today, especially those getting immediately out. Kind of the guilt and the post-traumatic stress disorder and just the whole question of war, just kind of the dehumanizing aspect of it. And then, kind of the little just hierarchies and politicking, if that's the right word, within daily soldier life. Now, I will say It's a very, very well written book, but I think that gets in the way sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't feel as emotionally present and visceral as it needs to be, and the guy's trying too hard to sound good or 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 sound lyrical. The whole time I'm reading this book, I'm thinking of Farewell to Arms, where Hemingway wasn't ever afraid to just write simple sentences that just supplied the action. Sometimes that's all you need, but it seems like there's kind of a fear to let those sort of very short, naked sentences stand. Um, at least, that's my own opinion, man. That I may be talking out of my ass. Um, but it really is. It's a good book because you can enjoy it, and then and it makes you think. Obviously, that sounds like such a huge cliche, but it's a fun read, even though it's a sad book. Experienced readers, I think, understand what I mean by that. But again, it's just there's a couple of times where, man, I just wish he would say things simply and not have to tell me what the clouds look like or um, give me some kind of extended Homeric simile or metaphor to this particular situation. Um, but I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I'd recommend it. It's a pretty short read, as you can see. It's about 226 pages, as I recall. Um, and again, it's just a good book, and it's something that's very immediate and present, I guess, in this zeitgeist, in this spirit of the times, as they say. But that's my review. If you want to add me on Goodreads, link down below. Hopefully it's in there. And yeah, that's this review. I hope you enjoyed it. There's no more reason to keep watching this, unless you just want to hear me say I love you in a highly sexualized way. Bye.